sound of that tractor means it's time for us to go to work. Welcome to the Give Us the Dirt podcast powered by Hoopaw Grading Company. My name is Brandon Lindsay, and I am your host. So today we want to welcome Amy Sullivan to the Give Us the Dirt podcast. Amy is president and CEO of Associated Builders and Contractors of the Carolinas. ABC Carolinas represents general contractors, construction management firms, specialty contractors, various material and equipment suppliers, and service providers, all dedicated to the construction industry. The association represents more than 21,000 members across the country, and ABC Carolinas is one of their 69 chapters. When Amy took over ABC Carolinas in 2020, right in the middle of COVID,
right in the middle,
the organization was experiencing some challenges, including a trend of membership decline. And in less than 2 years, Sullivan has stabilized and grown the organization by building the ABC brand, hosting meaningful and engaging events across both states, promoting workforce development and safety initiatives across the industry. Under her leadership, the chapters received numerous awards related to membership growth and program impact. Amy, welcome to Give Us the Dirt.
Well, thank you. We have a lot of dirt to talk about.
We do have a lot of dirt. You know, I was sitting there reading, you came out of the gate really strong.
We did.
That was a strong first 2 years on the job.
It was, and now we have to keep it going.
I was going to say, how do you maintain that pace?
The bar has to keep getting higher and higher.
That's it. You keep pushing. Yeah. Well, congratulations. Sounds like you had a ton of success so far.
We have.
We're going to dig into ABC Carolinas, but we're also going to get a little bit of your story. I want to hear a little bit about your journey and how you got introduced to the construction industry, which I actually saw, and I thought this was pretty cool. On your LinkedIn, you describe yourself as contagious energy, connector of people and opportunities, and someone who brings value to every relationship. That's pretty cool. I love someone with contagious energy.
I try every day.
That's awesome.
That's get people engaged.
That's it. Great. That's great. Well, so I want to start. Tell us a little bit about you. Where'd you grow up? Mm-hmm. How did you get introduced into the construction industry?
So I grew up in Gastonia. Not many people will admit that out loud, but I do. I grew up in Gaston County. My stepfather was a general contractor. He worked for, way back in the day, Crosland at the time, doing multifamily. So to entertain me and my younger sister, he would take us out to job sites and let us walk the job sites when he was out there on the weekends doing, his walkthroughs. And then to keep us quiet on the weekends, he would give us drawing paper and tell us to go design our dream bedroom or our dream house, whatever that might look like. So that was my very early introduction. Now, I will say that I really didn't grasp onto it. I went on, to college, went to UNC Charlotte, graduated with a degree in marketing and business administration, not really thinking much about that. Well, when I entered, I guess it was when I started the world of leasing office space with Regis, I met a lot of developers and a lot of people in the banking industry, construction, people who needed office space. So I did that for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
So those relationships started very early in this world. And when that opportunity came to an end, I figured, okay, how do I parlay those 13 years of relationships into something for my next step? And I ended up discovering the world of business development with an accounting firm, and my focus was contractors and developers. Not a CPA, do not claim to be one, but they wanted someone who had those connections. And I started that journey, and that led to the next opportunity with an engineering firm. Very similar situation. They didn't want an engineer. They wanted someone who had the connections. And with my years at the accounting firm, I had already built that up. And all I did from that point on with the engineering firm was to expand it. Got to know a lot of general contractors, specialty trades, architects, designers, developers. And here I am.
Isn't that something? Even though you went off and you got a business degree and you were in jobs, office leasing and accounting, you never really lose that construction gene that is playing in you from the very beginning with your stepfather out there on the construction site.
You don't. And, it's funny, even going down the road, all these, since I was a little kid, you look at things that are coming out of the ground. And it wasn't until I went to work for the engineering firm where I was able to say, look what we did, look what we were a part of. Again, engineering, everything that we did was underground, so it wasn't like the sexy blocks coming out of the ground, but it was everything underneath the ground. And it was really cool to drive by those and go, we were a part of that.
Yeah, and there's a sense of pride that goes along with that.
Absolutely.
You know, there's something to be taken from your journey there. I mean, there's a lot to be taken from it. But one of the things that I hope people hear from that is it's all about your connections. It's about your relationships. It's about your network. It doesn't matter if you're doing accounting. It can all transcend those industries, and it can make a difference. You know, when Brian brought me on here, I laugh about it, and Brian laughs about it. I didn't know anything about the grading world. But Brian said, I need you to know people. And through those relationships, we've been able to achieve our goals. And I think that's been the thing that's followed you from place to place and what you bring to ABC of the Carolinas.
Well, I think when we started the conversations about me coming on board, again, I am not an operations person. I am learning to be an operations person over the past 2.5 years. But again, they wanted someone who had those connections. The blessing is that most of my connections are in the Charlotte market and in South Carolina, Charleston mainly. Mm-hmm. But from there, I've been able to meet so many new people in the Raleigh market, Greensboro, Wilmington, Greenville, South Carolina, and Columbia as well. So it's all, to me, it's all about expanding that network and being that, I guess, that conduit between companies and people.
Right.
If you find a need, I don't care if it's in our industry or not. If I have that resource, make that connection, and then one day that may turn out to be an opportunity for everybody.
That's it. Helping them solve their problems.
100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So 2020 comes, the world shut down, and you say, "Hey, I need to change careers. I need a new job."
And I need to go work for a membership organization.
Right. What was that about? What was going on?
It's one of those things where I saw the challenge. I was a member of ABC starting in 2012. So I'd been exposed to ABC of the Carolinas prior to working with them, and even through the engineering firm, stayed very involved with ABC. So when the opportunity was presented, a little hesitant at first, but seeing the great opportunity and how it could broaden, I guess, take that next step for my career, I was eager to do it. And my board construction was an essential industry the whole time. Not many people were off of job sites. You had project managers, estimators, you had everyone in the field. And when I came on board, the board was very specific. And they said the moment that either state loosens up, we're going to be out there with networking events that are safe and responsible. But if we're going to support an essential industry, we have to be an essential organization. Mm-hmm. And I have an amazing staff. They were all behind it. I think they were tired of sitting at home too. And they missed the members, and the members missed the staff. And I think that is what really contributed to our success coming out of 2020, and it's still today.
Yeah. I think a lot of people forget that, we've been 2.5 years with this thing now. Yeah. But construction never stopped.
It never stopped.
We were essential the whole time. Yeah. We were working, we were coming into the office, and with you, I guess South Carolina opened up first, and you guys were able to start hosting events and doing some things there.
It was funny. Our very first event was actually in Raleigh.
Was it?
When Governor Cooper loosened up and said we could be outside with, I think, 25 people, one of our members opened up their courtyard in Raleigh and said, we'll provide all the safety protocol equipment. You guys come out, members come. And I think that event we had 45 people that very first time.
Awesome.
And everybody was safe.
What a tough way to come into a new job.
It was entertaining.
Membership organization, and you cannot meet. You can't get your people together. That's got to be frustrating, but you did it.
We did it.
And you've been successful. I was sitting here, and I know you won't say this about you, but I can say it. So you've gotten all kind of awards. In just 2 years, you guys have received Performance Award and Charles A. Mullen Award. I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool. And then you got CEO of the Year.
It's been a busy 2.5 years.
Wow, really, congratulations.
Thank you. It's one of those things with, again, going back to the staff. We're a staff of 7, and we're spread out all across the Carolinas. And their energy and their enthusiasm and their dedication to this organization is what has pulled us through as well. I have several seasoned people on staff who've been there for the high times and the very low times, and having them on board, getting behind the events, re-engaging with members, that is what has contributed to our success.
Spoken like a great leader. Mm-hmm. Give credit back to the team.
100%.
Yeah.
Can't do it without them.
You can't. You can't do it without a great team, but it sounds like you have that. And so congratulations on all the success. Your trend in membership decline obviously has turned the other direction.
It has. We have hit 427 member companies as of yesterday.
Great.
And the way that our memberships work is that as a company you join, but then everyone in your organization has access to ABC in both North and South Carolina. So technically we have thousands of members.
So how does that out? So let's talk about the organization a little bit. I want to learn more about it. First tell me, how does Charlotte chapter or the Carolinas chapter rank against the other 68?
So we won the performance award this year.
So you guys are at top.
So we were at the top. As far as members go, I mean, we've got a chapter in New Jersey, for instance. New Jersey just passed a law, and I hope I quote this right, by which if you're in a trade, you have to be associated with an apprenticeship program. So because of that, our New Jersey chapter is like 2,000 members.
Wow.
Just for that reason. So as far as membership goes, we're not the biggest. We're probably right in the middle of the pack. As far as events go, this is where we differ. I want to say there are 5 chapters within our association that cover 2 states. North and South Carolina, the way that we divide it up is through our councils. So we have a Charlotte Council, a Triad, a Triangle, Coastal, which is Wilmington for us, in North Carolina. Then South Carolina, we have Upstate, Midlands, and Low Country.
Okay.
Councils have chairs, they have committees, they plan all of our events. We literally have 72, 75 events a year.
Holy smoke.
So that is how we differ from all of our other chapters out there, is that we are a very social organization.
That's incredible.
We have a lot of other focuses, but that is, I would say 75% of our members join for our networking and our social events.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a lot. So you guys, I mean, you're professional
tired.
event planners.
We are.
That's a lot of events.
It is.
But with that kind of territory and that much geography, you've got to cover a lot of space. It requires a lot of events to get that much. You're talking about from Charleston all the way up here to Raleigh.
Correct.
Wow.
It's a lot of miles.
Well, congratulations. It sounds like you've done a great job. Talk to me about what the organization is. What do you guys do? And give me a 30-second elevator pitch on that one.
Sure thing. So Associated Builders and Contractors was founded on the principle of merit shop about 50 in the 50s, at a time when not everybody had a seat at the table. So the founders decided that we wanted to be based on and it is a political platform, we wanted to be based on free enterprise, open shop philosophy, where no matter what the opportunity is, everyone can come to the table, no matter your labor affiliation. That is what we were founded on. From there, every chapter sort of has its own personality. Mm-hmm. In the Carolinas, as I mentioned, we're very social, so we have our networking component, golf tournaments, fishing rodeos, sporting clays, just gathering up our young professionals. And then we've got our workforce development avenue as well. In the Carolinas, we focus on many different aspects of workforce, because as we all know, this is an area which we're all struggling in, regardless of your trade, but especially in the construction industry. So we have an electrical apprenticeship program in Charlotte and in Raleigh right now, where our members will send their employees to train with us through the 4-year curriculum. It's through NCCER, and then when they get out, they have their journeyman. They can qualify for the journeyman certificate. So we run that right now in, as I mentioned, Charlotte and Raleigh. On top of that, we are starting a carpentry apprenticeship program this year with Swinnerton. It's open to everybody. It's not just Swinnerton employees, but we're embracing that opportunity to partner with them. And then we're looking for other ways to get involved, whether it be MEP, a variety of different areas, carpentry, things like that. Then we engage in the community with more workforce development. Since I've been on board, I was on the leadership committee for the Boy Scouts of Mecklenburg County, and we partnered with them in a time where we could not get into schools, because we did programs within the Mecklenburg County school system. We partnered with Scouts to partner with them on their Explorers Club, which are middle school students.
Oh, that's great.
So one Saturday a month, we started it in Charlotte in 2020. Years are melding together now. And this year we expanded it to Raleigh and to Charleston. So one Saturday a month, our members get together and they teach a trade. In Charlotte, we actually built a shed for the first year. We're doing smaller projects now, whether it be a stepping stone, putting together a birdhouse, whatever it may be, we're teaching that way. So
that's awesome.
we've got the workforce development avenue as well.
Well, that's we talk about it all the time, that it's the introduction to
Right.
it, right? We got to hit them early. We got to introduce construction and the trades to them at an early age, and what a great way to do that.
It's fantastic. And watching these young women and men engage, it is fascinating. They start off a little quiet, and by the end of the program, they just don't stop talking. They're so excited. We asked them to do a presentation, and their energy is amazing. So yeah,
it's that hands-on. It's that being active and being able to see it, feel it, touch it. You know, we were talking about, you just walked through the academy here, and you saw our remote control sandbox.
Oh yes.
I mean, just that little bit of engagement and hands-on piece of it changes the training so
It's amazing.
much.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm curious about this. There are, you guys represent a pretty diverse group. I mean, it's all construction related, but I mean, you've got everyone from general contractors to material suppliers to equipment vendors. I mean, it's a big group. How do you guys differentiate yourself from other associations that are out there?
I think a couple ways. Number one, we do engage everybody. If you look at the makeup of our board, it's not just general contractors.
Yep.
It's not just big general contractors. It's everybody. So we're very thoughtful in our process of our leadership. If someone from Charlotte who is a supplier rolls off of our board, we try to be very thoughtful in, okay, who is that person that has worked their way up through our Charlotte Council, demonstrated leadership skills, understands ABC, that would be valuable on our board, and who also sort of fits that profile. So again, going back to what we were founded on, everyone should have a seat at the table. That is how we try to mimic our board and our members. We believe that everyone, if you're a banker, if you're an attorney, if you're a supplier, accounting firm, everyone who's in the industry should be part of our events.
Yeah, and that's got to be hard to do. That's, I mean, you want to, but that's got to be a difficult job. One of the things, you know, when we bring guests, now our guests and our listeners are primarily focused on what we're calling the dirt world now. And so many times we hear that those folks feel like they get left out, right? It's the general contractors, it's the big boys at the table that get in these associations. And then, but the dirt world sometimes feels like they are forgotten about. And we had a guest on recently that talked about how they peeled off of some of the associations. I think they were down in Louisiana or Mississippi, and they peeled off of the associations and just huddled up with a bunch of people in the dirt world that were like-minded and doing the same work. How are you guys addressing that? And have you heard that before?
Well, we have, and I think that many comments have been made to us about the way we structure our events. Again, our events are open to everybody. You know, no one's going to pay a higher rate or a lower rate. Everyone has that seat at the table. And I think that we have done a really good job of making sure that we don't make people feel that way. Yeah. One thing that our Charlotte Council has done is they've embraced a mentoring program. So when a new member comes on board, it doesn't matter what side of the construction world you're on, they will be assigned to one of our council members, and that council member will figure out, who do you want to meet? Because the last thing we want to have happen is have a new member walk into an event and sit in a corner or stand in a corner. So we try very hard to engage early on. We've started new member orientations. I believe it's every other month, where we'll get everybody on a Zoom call who's a new member, introduce each other. And then we've also, again, going back to the mentoring program, partnered that way. So I think that we're hitting it on all cylinders. If we're not, and there's a member listening out there, please call me. We just want to make sure that everybody's engaged. I think we're doing a decent job of that.
Well, and that's the only way you can do it, is just get in, find out, what do you need? Where are your pain points?
Right.
How can we help you achieve your goals? And then making those connections and getting in front of the right people. Mm-hmm. Well, so tell me this, you hear a lot. You didn't just go work for, not like a lot of our guests that go work for a construction company. You went to work for all of them. So
that's a good way to look at it.
So what are you hearing out there? What are the common themes? What is everybody complaining about these days?
You know, we just got back from our convention in Wilmington a week and a half ago, and we had a panel conversation. It was Nucor, 84 Lumber, and people ready skilled trades. And, it goes back to the heartburn everyone is feeling. Number one is still in workforce. How do we convince the younger generation that this industry is, number one, is very lucrative, and it's safe. Those are the two keys. So I would say, going back to that workforce component, supplies, the components of what goes into building a building are still sort of soft, depending upon what you're looking for. I think it goes back to that. Transportation, logistics, sort of all of that goes into play right now with what we're hearing in terms of people's heartburn.
Yeah. If I probably, if I was a betting man, I would have put big money on workforce development being your number one on that list.
Number one.
That's one of the things we talk about a lot here, and what we're trying to address with the academy is the people problem, right? And we've been able to get in front of that, and a lot of contractors we see are catching up. Like they realize this is a problem, and they're doing things to address it, but they're doing it themselves. Right. We can no longer rely on someone else to go out and fix this problem for us. We've got to take measures to do that ourselves. And how are you seeing other companies deal with the workforce development problem?
So, going back to the carpentry apprenticeship program we're partnering with Swinnerton on, again, I believe they already have one successful in the Denver market. When they first joined, we talked about how can we partner together, not to make it Swinnerton specific, but to engage other members. So I think that's one example of a construction company taking it under their own wing to do it, but opening it up to all. And we're going to have it at our facility, so it makes it sort of a neutral ground. We've also recently partnered with the Craft and Trade Academy to start what we're calling a PACE program. It's the Pre-Apprenticeship Construction Experience. They are going to be finishing up on August the 26th, I believe. It was a 8 to 10 week curriculum where the first 2 weeks they learned the core values, of construction. They did their OSHA, got through that, and then they spent the next 2 weeks with one of our members, the next 2 weeks with another firm, so forth and so on. And the whole purpose of that through the Craft and Trade Academy is to, number one, expose these people to our industry, expose our member companies to these people to figure out, okay, is there a match? And if so, great, they can now hire them. Or these people now have experience and they can figure out what they want to do on their own path.
That's a great program.
So that's finishing up as we
speak. And where do you
speak.
find your apprentices?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, the apprentices for our electric program come from our members.
Okay.
They sign them up. I think that through the Craft and Trade Academy, I believe they went out to the Mecklenburg County schools, partnered with a lot of the schools. I believe Olympic High School might have been one of them, looking for who are those graduates that are coming out that may have an interest.
That's great.
And it's not just graduates. It's, I think, really 17 to 24-year-olds. So there's that broad band of age right there.
What a great program.
Yeah.
And you talk about an experience, being able to spend that much time with each of these different areas of construction and contractors and learning that at that age.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And it's a great opportunity for the companies too. Sort of to test and see what's out there, and if it's a good fit, that's fantastic.
So those are the themes. That's what we're all complaining about right now: workforce development, supply issues, not being able to get materials. What else we say? That's probably. So where does this go? I mean, do you have a crystal ball over at ABC of Carolinas? Do you see, how does this thing play out right now?
We get it out every day.
Yeah. Tell me what you're seeing.
I think everyone is on the same page now, sort of like what you were saying. Companies are starting to realize this. It's not just a little blimp on our radar. It is a construction-wide opportunity. Hate to use the word problem because then you need to have a solution, but it's an opportunity. And I think that the more we talk about it in formats like this, get the word out, it's going to put us a step ahead. But I think that, we've got to get back into the schools. We've got to get back into the middle schools, even elementary schools, to teach the parents. It's okay. It's okay if your son or daughter wants to go into this industry. It's lucrative. It's safe. We get safer every day. So I think it's an educational process that if we start now, it's going to take a while, but I do think, in the next 5 to 10 years, like we've already seen more women enter this field than ever.
Right.
So I think that in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll start to see more people entering it.
I love that you said that. We've got a much higher number of women working in construction here at Hoopaw Grading Company than we've ever had in the history of the organization, and it's been awesome to be able to go out and show women that this is an industry that you don't need to be afraid of. You can prosper, you can do well, you can have career paths just like anyone else, and have a great career in this industry. And we're seeing that now, and in a lot of ways, they're outperforming some of the dudes that have been with us forever. So it's great to see women really starting to embrace the construction industry.
Oh, it's fantastic. I know when I started with the engineering firm, and this was in 2014. Outside of the administrative staff and marketing, which, by the way, are amazing women, there may have been 2 other female engineers. And when I go back to that office now, there are women everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that is fantastic.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of it now, and that's great. We're doing a lot, the apprenticeships and getting into the schools, the recruiting efforts, bringing them in. We've got these simulators too, and taking those out to career days at the high schools. You wouldn't believe just that one little piece, how much reaction you get from these high school students and college students just from showing them a different side of the business, right? You're showing them, hey, this isn't a dirty business. There's some cool stuff in the construction industry. The technology is light years ahead of where it was 5-10 years ago.
Well, when I walked in, I was very excited to see the simulators. I was like, I want to do that.
We're recruiting you. You don't even know it, right?
Fantastic. I love it.
So what in your 2 years, what are you most proud of? What's the accomplishment that you say, you know what, that was a good one?
We've had so many great milestones in 2.5 years. I would say it's twofold. Number one, it's how the staff has come together. Since I've been there, I made 2 additional new hires, but seeing the cohesiveness of the team pulling together, again, small but mighty, to put on 70-some events a year with 7 people.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's, as a group, us being able to achieve our membership growth. During a pandemic.
During a pandemic.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah.
So this is the part where we ask you to give us the dirt. So we're gonna ask you, because you've got 23 years of experience.
I started when I was 12.
That's right.
We're just gonna put that out there.
That's
12.
Sorry, I shouldn't use numbers, should I? All right, we're gonna edit that, cut that out. No, you've got a lot of experience.
Yes.
In the industry. You've got a lot of relationships. I want you to say, what's the future of workforce development? Fast forward 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. What does the future of workforce development look like in the Carolinas?
I think it's going to be more of a collaborative effort. I know that several organizations, we all talk a lot. We don't necessarily come together. And I think that in order for us to truly make an impact on workforce development, we're going to have to come together, because everything is so disjointed. We all have the same mission. Is it really about the ego of who does it first or who gets it out first? I think we all need to figure out a way to put all that aside, sort of pool our resources, whether it be, companies, people, money, and do it together. So I see that's sort of the way the future is going to have to be.
Great advice. Mm-hmm. And I think people are starting to become more open to that.
100%.
Right. This isn't some kind of trade secret that you need to keep under lock and key, right? We need the industry
correct
to embrace this, and everyone to start doing that. Everyone will prosper if the industry becomes better.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're right. That collaboration, that uniting under the same causes, and I think that's one of the benefits that you guys bring to the table, is that it gives us the opportunity to do that, to have these conversations with people that are dealing with the same issues, and to see how other people are addressing them and other problems that they're dealing with too.
Absolutely. I think we're becoming more open to that. So
what would you tell that high school student or that college grad that is considering their options and weighing the benefits of going into the construction industry? What would you say to them?
First of all, if we're always going to be essential, we learned that.
You're always going to have a job.
You're always going to have a job. Construction is not going away, as evident by going down South Boulevard or Uptown or University or Ballantyne, and that's just for this market. I think that, there is a career to be made here. I've watched women and men start in the field as technicians and work their way up to being office managers, branch managers of organizations, or starting their own companies. You talk about an entrepreneurial spirit. Construction is where to do that. We're best to start your own company.
Right.
Go get the skills, go get the background, get the business acumen, start your own business.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that it's sort of an invincible industry.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking, you're considering your options, go to the place where you know you're going to be safe, where you've always going to have an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter. You may not be with the same company for 40 years, but you're always going to have something.
You're always going to have a job.
You're always going to be in the industry.
Absolutely.
And those relationships will last you a lifetime,
mm-hmm.
as you've seen.
Who would have known? Who would have thought?
So for our listeners that maybe aren't a part of ABC of the Carolinas or interested in learning more, how do they do that?
You can do a couple things. Number one, you can go to our website, which is abccarolinas.org. Okay. We have a brand new website. We're very proud of it, so check that out. You can check us out on LinkedIn, and I'm going to put this plug out there. We have a mission to hit 4,000 followers. Check out
Where are you at now?
We're at 3526, I think, as of this morning.
We got this. You're going to hit it before you get out of here today.
We want to hit 4,000. That's just an internal goal that we have. But you can check out our LinkedIn ABC Carolinas chapter. Check us out there. You can reach out to me. Give me a call. Look me up on the website. Give me a call.
Are you that accessible?
Me. I'm accessible. We are
with everything else that you got going on. Someone can just call you and say, "Hey, I need some help, Amy."
Correct.
That's awesome. Okay.
Like I said, we're 7, but we get it done.
And we're going to hit 4,000.
We're going to hit 4,000.
ABCCarolinas.org
is our website.
We'll put it on the podcast too. We'll drop a link down there, and then we're going to get you these LinkedIn followers, help you hit your goal.
Yeah.
And let's see, anything else you want to tell us before we finish up here?
I think that if you want to join an organization that is all-inclusive, we allow everyone to have a voice at the table. We have a lot of fun in the meantime doing it, but we also have a serious mission in terms of workforce development. ABC Carolinas should be your choice.
Amy, thank you so much for the work that you're doing for the industry. I know that you got a tough gig, and you're trying to please a lot of people right now, and you've got a lot of variables that are working against you, but you guys have been successful, and we appreciate all the work that you're doing to bring people together, to get people talking about their issues and coming up with solutions that we can adopt as an industry, not just individually. So thank you. You're doing great work. Congratulations on all your success, and we look forward to being a part of your next event.
We're excited about it, too. Come out and join us.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Give Us the Dirt. Visit our website at giveusthedirtpodcast.com and subscribe to this podcast on Apple and Google so you never miss an episode.